Let's be honest. We assume we are living under capitalism. We look around, we see money changing hands, we see aggressive advertising, we see billionaires on magazine covers, and we think, this is the free market at work. But if you analyze the mechanics of the modern economy, the vital signs are gone. The two fundamental pillars that defined capitalism for 3 centuries, markets and profit, have been quietly dismantled. They have been replaced by 2 new forces, digital fiefdoms and rent. Economist Yanis Varoufakis argues that capitalism didn't just evolve, it mutated. It ate itself. We have transitioned into a system where you are no longer a consumer or even a product. You are a resource. Welcome to the era of technofeudalism. This isn't a metaphor or a conspiracy theory. It is a specific economic diagnosis of how value is extracted in the 21st century. To understand this shift, we have to distinguish between profit and rent. In traditional capitalism, a company like Ford or Sony produces a product, sells it in a competitive market, and keeps the margin. That is profit. It encourages innovation and efficiency. But look at the giants of today. Amazon, the Apple App Store, or Google. Their primary business model is not production. It is gatekeeping. Consider the Apple App Store. Apple does not develop the millions of apps on its platform, yet for every transaction, they extract 30% fee. This is not profit earned from making a better product. This is a feudal toll collected simply because they own the digital road you need to travel. Amazon operates the same way. It is not just a store. It is the infrastructure of commerce. When a third-party seller lists an item, Amazon charges fees for storage, shipping, and referral that can exceed 45% of the sale price. The seller takes the risk, the seller does the work, but the platform extracts the value. Amazon doesn't compete in the market. Amazon is the market, and the entity that owns the market doesn't have to follow the rules of supply and demand. They set the rules. We have moved from an economy of entrepreneurship to an economy of rent-seeking. In the 19th century, capital meant steam engines, factory lines, and physical tools. Today, the most valuable asset in the world is cloud capital. This consists of the server farms, the fiber optics, and most importantly, the algorithms. But unlike a machine in a factory that produces cars or shoes, cloud capital is a machine designed to modify human behavior. The algorithms behind TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram are not passive librarians arranging books. They are active agents. They learn from your reactions, your pauses, your clicks, your anger, your joy, to keep you engaged, effectively reprogramming your attention span to serve their goals. And here is the brilliant, terrifying trick of this system. Who builds this capital? We do. In a factory, workers are paid a wage to build the machine. In technofeudalism, we, the users, work for free. Every time you post a photo, write a review on Google Maps, or solve a CAPTCHA, you are adding value to their cloud capital. We are the serfs, voluntarily building the digital castle walls that keep us inside without receiving a single cent of equity in return. What does this mean for the capitalists, the small business owners and creators? They have been demoted. They are now vassals. A vassal in the Middle Ages had land, but he served at the mercy of the Lord. Today, if you run a business, you are forced to operate on the platforms of the big tech giants because that is where the people are. But you have no rights there. There is a phenomenon in the tech world called Sherlocking. The moment Amazon's data shows that a small business's product is successful, they can launch a cheaper copy under the Amazon Basics brand. Then they can tweak the code to place their product at the top of the search and bury the original competitor on page 10. Furthermore, we see the rise of pay to play. Even if you build a massive following on Facebook or Instagram, the algorithm eventually restricts your reach. To speak to the audience you built, you must pay for boosts or ads. The business owner wakes up every morning terrified that the algorithm might change. That is not market risk. That is the whim of a feudal lord. Now, let's look at us, the individuals. The most profound shift is the death of property rights. We are transitioning from an economy of ownership to an economy of permission. You see this in the hardware we buy. Farmers pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for John Deere tractors, but they are legally forbidden from repairing them because the software is locked. The farmer owns the metal, but the corporation owns the machine's brain. You see this in the automotive industry. BMW and Tesla have experimented with subscription features where heated seats or battery range are software locked unless you pay a monthly fee. You see this in media. You don't own your Kindle books, your Spotify music, or your Steam games. You are merely renting a revocable license. If Amazon gets into a dispute with a publisher, they can, and have, wiped books from users' devices overnight. If you stop paying the rent, you lose access to your tools, your entertainment, and even your memories. We are becoming digital tenants in our own lives, owning nothing and paying for everything. We use the word cloud because it sounds weightless, magical, and ethereal. That is a linguistic illusion. Technofeudalism is built on heavy, dirty, industrial infrastructure. The internet is not in the sky. It is under the ocean. 99% of the world's data traffic travels through subsea cables. Historically, these were shared public utilities. Today, they are being aggressively acquired by Google, Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon. They are privatizing the physical trade routes of the 21st century. This has created a new geopolitical reality. The world is splitting into two super fiefdoms, the US dollar cloud and the Chinese yuan cloud. The conflict over TikTok, the trade war over semiconductors, chips, and the battle for AI dominance are not just trade disputes. They are territorial wars. The question is, who gets to extract the rent from the behavior of the global population? Who owns the digital land we all live on? We find ourselves in a situation where a handful of companies control not just the market, but the infrastructure of human communication, commerce, and identity. So, what is the solution? Traditional antitrust regulation. Fines won't work. For companies with trillions in cash, a $1 billion fine is just a parking ticket. The structural solution is interoperability. This is the legislative right to tear down the walls. Imagine if you could leave Facebook or X, but take your entire friend list, your message history, and your photos to a new platform instantly. Just like you can switch phone carriers without losing your number. That simple change would destroy the moat that protects these monopolies. It would force platforms to compete for your loyalty rather than holding your social life hostage. Until we demand that right, we remain raw material for their algorithms. The first step to breaking the cycle is realizing that capitalism as we knew it is dead. The question now is, do we accept the role of serfs in this new system? Or do we demand a voice in how the digital code is written? Stay sovereign,